Years ago, I watched my mom lose her job after developing carpal tunnel from repetitive data entry work, and she had surgery, and then she was later let go. That moment stuck with me, and I remember thinking there has to be a better way. That's what inspired me to create Connex, a tool that automates e-commerce operations and helps businesses eliminate the tedious, manual work. And that's why I love talking with leaders who are passionate about helping organizations work smarter. Today, I'm thrilled to welcome Urvashi Batra, co-founder and CEO of Prioriwise, a company that uses AI to help SaaS companies see what they've been missing with their customers, which accounts are at risk, where products and plans are quietly eroding gross margin, and where hidden expansion opportunities are sitting right inside their client base. Urvashi, let's start with your story. What inspired you to create Prioriwise, and how did your own professional journey lead you to focus on the intersection of AI and growth strategy in SaaS?
Thank you so much, Joseph, for having me. Really excited to be here today. A great question. So I worked in the technology space for about 20 years, all in very client-facing roles, particularly for SaaS companies. I saw firsthand really the frustrations with not having the right visibility to make data-driven decisions when it came to keeping our customers happy. And so I noticed this recurring theme that kept happening, surprise churn, delayed renewals, margin shocks, because key signals were buried under these tools and across the teams. And I realized over time that it really wasn't a people problem as much as it was a visibility and orchestration problem. So my co-founder and I built Prioriwise to fix that. It's a simple layer, agentic AI layer, that sits on top of existing tools, and it connects all those really frontline signals and turns them into real-time actions that leaders can then use to reduce churn, protect their revenue, and grow their customers. Prioriwise is essentially a solution that I wish I'd had, and it turns out a lot of people wish they had too.
And how does Prioriwise work? I mean, are you interviewing these companies' existing customers? I use a tool called Baremetrics, and when people cancel, it gives me like reason codes, and we call up those users and ask them, "Hey, you canceled because of price. We noticed you're on a plan that's too high. Can we work out a better price?" And sometimes that's helped too. Is it just like a dashboard reporting tool,
Yeah,
or how are you?
it's so yeah, we provide that single pane of glass, but what we're doing is we're actually collecting data from across all the tools. So a lot of SaaS companies, they'll have their financial management tool, they'll have their CRM tool, they'll have their, maybe ticketing tool. A lot of the data also lives in, unstructured data sets, emails, chats. So what now with AI, we're able to create these agentic workflows that is tool agnostic. It can go across all of these different data sets and collect the insights provided in a dashboard. But the key thing that we do is we meet our customers where they are. So a lot of CEOs we've spoken to, they're like, I don't want another tool in my toolbox. I just want to be able to grab the right data and make the right decisions. And that's literally what we're doing for this.
One of the issues I've seen with even running a SaaS company or using Baremetrics, which we use to reduce some of the user churn at my company, is that often companies see churn or net revenue retention as volatility as they scale. And from your perspective, why does churn and net revenue, why is there so much volatility, and how do you close the gap?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. As SaaS companies are scaling, you're going to inherently see a lot more fragmentation unless you have the right systems and processes in place. So, when these companies were small, they got away with not having the right systems and processes in place. And the reason for that is, a lot of those initiatives were really founder-led, right? You didn't need those systems to go across teams necessarily because you were small enough. But now during this growth period, having scalable systems and processes becomes very, very critical. And without that, issues keep popping up. So what happens is that data gets scattered. For example, product metrics are in one place, support in another. Financial context is locked in like maybe an ERP system or like a simpler ERC system, which includes spreadsheets, PowerPoints flying everywhere. And so from a leadership perspective, it's creating a lot of these blind spots, which we call it. And we like to use that word a lot because that's literally where the pain points are stuck. They're in these blind spots, which means these warning signals are missed, especially as teams grow and customer success can't linearly scale with just new accounts. So that's where Prioriwise is closing the gap. with AI that sits on top of these structured and unstructured data sets.
And when people think of AI and SaaS, they often picture automation or efficiency. How does your approach at Prioriwise go beyond automation to actually drive the alignment to product vision, revenue goals, and customer outcomes?
Yeah, it's a great question. So we think of that a lot. Automation alone, like it creates efficiencies, which is great. But what organizations really need as they scale is alignment. So this sort of clear and shared focus across product, CS, and finance. And so Priorwise goes that extra step further by linking the right data with the right workflows. So actions are tied to outcomes. So we're focused on outcomes. Like, for example, we can surface up the right at-risk accounts. We're being proactive that way. So you're not finding out after the fact that a customer has churned. We bring the right metrics. We surface the right metrics in that pane of glass and also make recommendations on what you can do to resolve that. And not only that, we're providing those business outcomes. Going back to alignment, we're saying, hey, if you don't do this, this is the business impact that's going to have on you as well as your customer. So that's what we're really driving in terms of creating that alignment.
Yeah, I see. So you create that alignment by offering that single pane of glass, that dashboard that tells people what's happening at their companies. And for leaders at these SaaS companies that are listening, what's the right moment to adopt an AI-driven customer and revenue operations model?
Yeah, that's a great question. So what we found is that most teams sort of hit that tipping point when they are trying to manage more than 30 clients or 30 to 50 clients. That's when the problems are first starting. So let's go back to those smaller companies, right? They don't necessarily feel this pain. Smaller firms are founder-led. Processes are informal, but that's okay because the founder is very close to each client. And so with only sort of a handful or a few dozen accounts, they're able to deliver sort of that high degree of personalization, which results in low churn, high client satisfaction, steady, if modest growth. And so let's take it one step further. Now we get into these mid-sized segments for SaaS companies. And this is where the pain is more acute, right? Leadership can't be in every client meeting, take it to sort of the next tier, but at the same time, initiatives fail to sort of get executed with that second tier management because they're also dealing with a lot. Not only that, clients are more demanding. They're expecting enterprise level service without paying the enterprise prices. And so these processes that are getting implemented are very piecemeal. Think about a large scale organization. I mean, it takes years to implement the right processes and tools and the frameworks with the right technology. And so what you get is these piecemeal processes and tools, which still leaves a lot of gaps and inefficiencies. And so this result is sort of this dangerous mix of, observations of high churn, lower CSAT, inability to scale. They don't have the right insights anymore to know which customers to go for expansion opportunities.
One of the issues with SaaS I've found is when you have a lower price point to really make profit, you have to go for numbers. Whereas if you're an enterprise company, you're charging $100,000 for an implementation, you can get away with a smaller customer base. It's kind of like
Yes,
if you're paying, $200, $300 a month, you can't expect enterprise level support and handholding. I mean,
exactly. And
you
so
can't agree. It's hard to deliver personalization to some of those people.
totally. And so what we're saying, instead of working on those numbers, like, starting to reduce your numbers in order to get that renewal through the door, giving you the right insights to say, hey, this customer is, likely to churn, but hey, they've been talking about X, Y, and Z in your meetings, FYI, like, this might be a good time to bring up this opportunity for the new product line that you just started or something like that, or get some services in the door with the product. And so that's what we're talking about with those blind spots. So they don't have to, succumb to just lowering their price in order to save that customer.
And one concern many executives have is that AI can really add complexity or feel like a black box. How do you make AI insights about risk, margin, and expansion accessible?
Yeah, no, that's a great point. We get that question a lot, especially in this world that we're in, where AI is changing all the time. So we address the black box fear by really translating those signals into the right messaging for the right people. So providing the right role-based views. Even though we see our buyer persona for this product is the CEO and the leadership team, but the user persona would be the head of delivery, for example. So we would provide the right signals to those right roles, and also we meet them where they are. So in addition to providing this single pane of glass, we're also integrating with their systems. So in the single pane of glass, we're saying things like, hey, these are your at-risk accounts. Why? Because from your CRM system, we see this. From emails, we see this. And here are the direct quotes from the emails that came through. From your financial system, we're seeing this. And so what's that translating to? Like, we're having scope creep. And so we're really trying to surface those AI-driven insights into what that actually means, where that's coming from, and what that actually means in terms of outputs.
And you find that AI can take the place of a human? Like when, for example, like Connex, we frequently talk to people before they buy the software. We do support tickets. We have calls. So there's some human touch points, and that keeps people on the service. I even did a webinar yesterday, and many customers were happy with the support that we offered them.
Awesome.
Do you find that AI can that maybe do some of the personalization?
I think from a data perspective, I always say, humans always need to stay in the loop, and every initiative with AI needs to be human-led, right? So you can't just throw AI at everything, because at the end of the day, especially for customer success, you really need that one-on-one personalization. But where we can help is surfacing the right data, making the right recommendations, having those playbooks on what to say and who to say that to, and think about the efficiencies with that, right? Then as a customer success manager or head of delivery, you can probably knock out, so many more conversations because you didn't have to dig for those details or those signals yourself that you very well would have missed if you tried to do it on your own.
I agree. It's more of a tool, like a power tool, like an automatic drill, and more than like an actual like plumber or someone to replace it. So there's a lot of noise around AI right now. Hype, fear, confusion. I've even seen on LinkedIn entry-level candidates fear that AI will take their jobs away. I use AI to help write code and act as tech support. So I don't think it would really take a job away, but how do you help SaaS leaders cut through the noise and focus on what really moves the needle?
Yeah, exactly. So one of the things that we do in our product is we actually translate every single insight from a business perspective. One of the things we've seen and this is more for IT service companies, not so much SaaS companies, but even SaaS companies that don't have the right, they have a lot of technical people working on the team, but a lot of them are sort of pushed into being sort of more client facing. So that's where we could help out. Like maybe a company is growing, but they don't have time to hire like a full-on customer success management tool. So you're working, with the dev team and you're working with the account team, for example, or the sales team. And so providing those insight and actually creating those playbooks so that you can say, hey, now we can go and talk the talk of the to the CFO directly. When we talk about finding those signals and identifying the impact that a at-risk account is going to have, for example, we want to give you that message. We give you that message not just from your business points of view, but hey, from your client's point of view. Hey, if you don't address this growth opportunity, this could have an impact on your client by this much, and you should be speaking to your CFO to talk about.
And so tell me a little more about Prioriwise itself and what makes your approach to AI-driven alignment for SaaS different from other tools on the market.
Yeah, so a lot of AI tools in SaaS or for SaaS still live in silos. You have product analytics on one side, you have CRM data on another, and everyone's creating their own agentic AI chatbot or maybe even workflows and dashboards. They tell a part of the story, but no one's really connecting the dots into action. And so Prioriwise was built to really solve that. So our AI agents, as I mentioned, go across structured and unstructured data. like usage, billing, ticketing, renewals, unstructured data, notes, emails, chatbots. Like now with AI Note Taker, you can get a lot of insights even from that. So let's use the example of, let's say if you have a ticket out there for a client and it's labeled as a P3, not very important, right? It's not a P1. But guess what? Your CEO of that company or your CFO or CMO has been bringing it up on the last few calls with you. So you wouldn't necessarily know to bring that, unless someone told you, you wouldn't necessarily know to bump that up to a P1. And so Prioriwise can come in because it's looking across all the data sets. It can say, hey, this is a P3, but we recommend it should be a P1 because the leadership team for this client has been talking about it a lot. So that's where we make a difference in our AI approach.
And how does the AI, like if I gave you, let's say, 5 years of Connex support tickets and all of our 300 plus knowledge base articles, how long does it take to train the model on that?
Yeah, very quickly. So what our plan does is we promise sort of an ROI impact within the first quarter, but that's not it. Like we provide time to value within weeks. So we kind of roll it out into phases. So we'd give you some key insights in the first 2 weeks about your at-risk customers, and then we would take it from there and talk to you about, what growth opportunities could exist. Hey, where are your margins being tightened and how can you improve on that? And it's really about making sure you are not losing your existing customers because we all know it's easier to retain. It's less cost because that essentially um, rolls directly into your EBITDA, right? We all know that it's much easier to keep your customers from a financial perspective than it
Well,
is.
let me ask you a question. Let's say you have a customer who's having a lot of problems and it's costing a great deal of, time and money to resolve these issues or provide custom software. I think there are cases when telling a customer it's time to move on might be less expensive than finding new customers sometimes. I agree. Usually we try to maintain customers at Connex, but sometimes it's just not going to work out for whatever reason, and it's best to just tell them this is as far as we can take you.
Yeah, I mean those are critical decisions that need to be made in a company. I always come back to business outcomes. Translating, if they don't do anything or if they don't work with you, what is the cost of that in terms of the business impact for them? What are they at risk of losing out on? And communicating that with them and saying, hey, this is a playbook that we can use for you to help with that. Obviously, you're still going to have customers where it may not be worthwhile to go down that route, but always translating to business outcomes is what we believe in.
And Priorwise started as a platform focused on connecting business activities to measurable outcomes. What inspired you to evolve beyond that and build a solution focused on growth alignment?
Yeah, that's a great question. So for us, it was really, it was not, yeah, like you said, it wasn't so much a pivot, it was more of an expansion of the same mission. So from day one, Prioriwise was about connecting actions to outcomes. In this case now, we're taking it further. We're going from small companies to mid-market companies, helping SaaS leaders see what is working and why. And so as we started digging deeper, we realized that those outcomes were being driven or derailed by a few core forces, and that was around customer health, margin performance, and growth alignment. So instead of stopping at visibility, we've extended our platform to connect to those deeper levers. It's the same DNA essentially, but we're tying in which we're tying activity to measurable impact. But now we're looking across the entire customer lifecycle, from how product usage and sentiment influence renewals, as an example. And we're building now AI agents. Previously, in our previous product, we had an AI recommendation engine and an AI chatbot, and now we've expanded into building AI agents.
And are you using ChatGPT for the agents? Or you're using Copilot agents?
Yeah, we're using a combination of a few. We recently made this pivot. And so we're taking different frameworks and we're coming up with something that, AI, at the end of the day, we want to be as modular as possible because, things are changing so fast, right? OpenAI just made a big announcement on visual AI workflows this week, right? And so we're building a solution that is as modular as possible. In fact, our recommendation chatbot is LLM agnostic. So we can go against any LLM.
And so finally, looking 2 to 3 years ahead, where do you see the biggest opportunities for AI in helping organizations get alignment?
Yeah, so we think about that a lot every day almost. I think the next few years are going to be not just about AI doing more things. That's a given now. We all know that. But it's going to be about AI making everything connect. Right now, most companies have data scattered across these delivery tools, financial systems, CRMs, and the real opportunity we feel is unifying that into a shared sort of living space where of what's actually happening with every client. And this is, of course, in our domain. So AI will move from being a reporting layer to being, again, this alignment layer, constantly reading, again, structured, unstructured signals, translating them into clear priorities for every role. And so we're seeing AI getting more into predictive and personalization, essentially.
Yeah, I've always seen Connex as one day a data source for AI as someone wanted data from an accounting system or a selling channel or even a CRM tool. Being able to create we have a format for all of our data and being able to share that with an AI agent. And that way, I really envision like someone going into a chatbot and saying, hey, I need this data from my selling channel or CRM, or I need that data I need a report. And the report is a combination of data from 2 or 3 different systems. I see really Connex being that kind of like the agent asks Connex and Connex gives it the data almost like a source. Like when you go to ChatGPT, it has Reddit, it has, Wikipedia, where is this data coming from? And I see Connex maybe as like a middleman for some people.
Yeah, absolutely. And the key is data, right? Garbage in, garbage out. And, I've over the years built this amazing solution, and the data is probably very well organized, right? So tapping into those clean data sets is very, very valuable.
And that'll be all my questions for today. I want to give a big thanks to Urvashi for joining me today. If you're a business leader, here's the real takeaway. The future of AI isn't about replacing people, it's about empowering them. Solutions like Prioriwise show how connected AI agents can service the right insights and recommendations at the right time, so your teams can focus on what truly matters, protecting customers, strengthening margins, and growing with intention. If you're a SaaS leader struggling to manage customers as you scale, check out Prioriwise.ai or connect with Urvashi out on LinkedIn to learn more. And if you're ready to ditch manual data entry and automate your operations, head over to connexecommerce.com. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode with another leader who's looking for smarter ways to align strategy and execution. Thank you.
Thank you so much.